Mesdames et Messieurs, bienvenue. In the week where Sébastien Lecornu became France's third Prime Minister to resign this year, we return to the backbenches and roll back an interim administration of our own. My name is Richard Neish, and I'm joined this evening by Cobham's own Liberté, Égalité and Fraternité, with Alex on the far left, Lunny leaning into the centre, and Pete Le Pen on the hard right. Welcome, my friends, to Season 3, Episode 4 of the Cob Pod. Gentlemen, good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. What a welcome.
Yeah, lovely.
The far left. Let's not go too far.
So this evening we have an absolutely packed show. We've got 4 guests coming in. We're going to start with Dave Stewart coming in for talk about the first 15, talk about his journey in rugby and refereeing. We're going to reach out, and once he's finished training over in Wimbledon, we're going to speak to the director of rugby for Old Wimbledonians ahead of the fixture that we're playing at the weekend. And then we're going to talk to Louise Pike and Andy Taylor. So Louise, Minnie's chair, and then Andy representing the under-5s, both in coaching and in stature, under-13s boys and under-16 girls. Now, it's a different kind of start to the pod because we need to acknowledge both some incredible news and some incredibly sad news. The entire rugby community at this moment in time is dealing with the news that Lewis Moody has announced that he has been diagnosed with motor neurone disease, and it's an incredibly sad moment for someone who has been such a hero of rugby, such a hard man who played like few others actually in terms of belief, in terms of the ability to take people with him on a journey, and he has an incredibly tough journey ahead of him, and it was quite humbling to hear him speak about this. And there's one piece that I'd like to pull out when he said, "It's not that I don't understand where it's going. We understand that. But there's absolutely a reluctance to look the future in the face for now."
Yeah.
How did you feel when you heard that news?
That was the tough bit, wasn't it? Because often you get people that have this really seriously heart-rending news, and they try to talk positively. Whereas he was brutally honest. I can't look at the future, and quite. Yeah, that was gut-wrenching for somebody that communicating it to family and all the rest of it.
Yeah, the BBC interview was a
tough, wasn't it? Really tough.
Yeah. If you're not caught up with that, recommend take some time out and just have a listen.
I think it was a reminder that he's 47 years old. He's a dad. Yeah. He's got a 17-year-old boy. He's got a 15-year-old boy, and there's an awful lot of us who can relate to that.
Yeah. And we all know where it's going, right? Because it's another, great rugby star, and we've seen that in the recent past. So it must be absolutely terrifying for him. Very, very sad news.
I do think that rugby can be at its best in moments like this, and we don't know how it's going to play out and how the community is going to react. But my word, there's going to be a reaction from the rugby community.
Yeah.
And I think that often brings out. We've had the misfortune to see it here when there's been tragedy, but the way that rugby as a community comes together and celebrates in a way that is meaningful and just supports those involved. So I think we're going to see a lot from rugby. I think that there are more chapters of Lewis's story to be written.
Yeah.
The Lewis Moody Foundation, already he's done a phenomenal amount of work raising funds for those who have brain tumours. So that he's already got a back record of doing some quite remarkable stuff, and I think we're going to see more. I want to just switch into some more remarkable news, and that's that we sit here today as world champions.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
And what an incredible journey for the Red Roses, for English rugby. So many stories, like so many good things to touch on. What were our reactions to becoming world champions?
I mean, it was amazing. I had a nice seat round about halfway, right up in the gods. I went into watching the match with a fear that it was going to be a real slugfest and it was going to be tight.
We talked about it on the pod. Wow. Canada were going to be a really hard team to beat. They played really well in that World Cup. And
then in the end, wrap them up in the tackle. They can't offload if you can't get your arms free, and absolutely smashed them.
Yeah, I watched it at home, And I'd watched the previous game, and I felt there were similarities. I felt you never quite wrote off France in that third, fourth playoff game, and they got close, and then New Zealand just let rip. And I think we were a bit like that. We got to a yellow card, 26-13, and you think, whoa.
Got a bit twitchy.
It did. But they just put the foot down. They brought the bench on. That's tremendous.
It's amazing.
The thing for me was the noise. I mean, I wasn't there, but I've spoken to so many people there who said, Twickenham, it doesn't usually sound like that.
I remember, and we're going to talk about minis in a bit. I remember when we had the under nines, and it was one of the Quins games, and we took them out onto the pitch at Twickenham. I remember I was lucky enough to be the one that took them out. I remember saying, and there's just noise everywhere, like 82,000 people, most of whom were either in the bar or at the loo at that moment in time, but there were 82,000 people there. And I remember saying to the boys, look up. Like, look, because they were so, like, just they were looking at the grass and, like, so excited to be there, but look up. And I got that same thought that day in that World Cup final. You go, look up, because there is not a free seat in the house. And what an incredible step change for sport.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was great.
And I think, I think congratulations to the people organising it, right? Because they put it around the country, seeing games in York and Sunderland, which are not necessarily well represented in male or female rugby. And they sold out everything. And, they gave a platform to new teams that we haven't seen much of. And, I just thought it was really, really positive, a whole positive festival of rugby.
Absolutely. And some of those teams really struggled financially to make it to the World Cup. Yeah. And surely we have to do something about that. We have to make it easier. Even Canada, number 2 in the world. Yeah. Did they crowdfund?
Yes and no. There's a lot of PR around this. Okay. What they did, they crowdfunded to match the same investment that England had. So the Canadian Rugby Union provided sufficient funds, and then they worked out how much England were getting, and they were saying we're gonna bring that much money in, because that's how much we need. So it's a little bit of a misnomer, but it's not. I'm not besmirching it at all. I'm just saying there's a little bit more detail.
It can't be right that your number 2 side in the world has to get the begging bowl out to actually get there.
But by England investing, all the other countries are starting to do it. And we need to do it for the future. It's where does that investment go next?
So let's look at it like this. What has to happen next? Because the sporting journey is never over. You achieve something, you go on to the next piece, you're only as good as the last thing you did. What actually has to happen next?
I don't know. Lunny, it's yours.
Don't ask me.
Youth chair.
I mean, there's several things, isn't there? We have been at grassroots, trying to drum up more interest in the game, using the World Cup as a lever and a platform. And I mean, we still continue to see growth here and interest in the game at all ages in the girls' side of things, which we've been fortunate enough at Cobham to see for the last few years. It's just been a steady increase, and the popularity is going, through the roof. So there's that side of it, and there's continued investment. I think what I would say, having been around girls rugby for about 10 or 12 years, is that clubs are now taking it seriously at grassroots. There's an equality there. When my eldest started playing, we always got the last slot on a Friday. We were always at Cobham. We always had hand-me-down kit, all of this sort of stuff. It doesn't go like that anymore at this club. And Steve Hurd has backed the girls, and it's been, it's reaped its rewards. With regards to the professional game, I mean, I think the PWR is in rude health. I think it's attracting loads of players. I mean, how many Canadians are at Exeter? I kept hearing. So I think the structure is there for England to continue and to continue to grow. But what referring to Pete's comment, I'd love to see some of these nations that have got themselves across to play, done some lovely interviews, really tugged at our heartstrings.
Tongan.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And the Brazilians were super popular. The South Africans were on the charge.
That's South African.
Yeah, and
15-man line out. Anyone?
Yeah, it would just be great to see them continue to grow and it not just be a flash in the pan.
And I think
for me,
I think the clubs have got to embrace it and take it forward. But sponsors have to embrace it and take it forward. The media has to embrace it and take it forward, because we've seen some incredible personalities come to light, and it cannot be just a moment in time. Yeah, it has to kick on.
Yeah, and I think as supporters, and I would all the people listening to this pod, we're all supporters of rugby. What are we doing slightly different, and what could we do? As a podcast, what can we encourage you all to do? Do you know these names now? Are you going to, PWR kicks off, Quins play Loughborough on the 24th, Friday night game, great way to end your Friday evening. Why don't we, just get down and see some of these players? That'd be a really great night. And the ticket prices are 15 quid. So, it's well worth it.
Big thing for my daughter who's in Brunel. Her mentor this season is Meg Jones.
Oh, amazing.
Which is
absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah, she's over.
And what an incredible player.
Yeah. Bundle of energy, right?
That's fantastic.
So much power.
Okay. We're gonna keep talking about power, and we're gonna switch it back. But huge congratulations to the Red Roses. What a pleasure it has been to watch that tournament. It's been absolutely outstanding. Let's come a little bit closer to home and introduce our first guest. Good evening, Mr. Dave Stewart. Welcome to the Cod Pod. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to get here.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. First and foremost, a pleasure to be here. Avid listener of the Cod Pod. I'm Dave Stewart, vet, coach, referee, first 15 player now for many a year here at Cobham. Journey started at boarding school in Strathallan in Scotland. Captained the first 15 there for a couple of years. That's where all the good Scotland players come from now.
Thanks for letting us know.
Not obviously when I was playing there. Did do some schoolboys Scotland stuff. Went to uni in Glasgow, played for Glasgow Hawks for a number of years, and then moved to Aberdeen with work. So went kind of somewhat in the semi-professional route. Never really made it. Too small, probably a bit too gobby, which you'll recognise for many who've played with me or listened to me on the field coaching. Moved to Aberdeen and then ultimately moved down here probably nearly 15 years ago. Came to play initially at Dorking. Had a couple of seasons there.
No comments.
No.
Yeah. Lots of muttering. Had a couple of seasons there. Great rugby, really great rugby. They're on a high. Were at the time as well. Lots of great players been through that club. Went to Vandals for a couple of seasons after the kids were
Gets
born.
worse.
What?
Where
do we unplug him?
And then ultimately ended up here. Really, the kids and the facilities drew us here. I have twins. Both of them played in the under 5s and 6s. I worked away for a bit, but joined as a coach many years ago now, around about the kind of under 6, under 7s time. Been a coach through that. Got into rugby through some of the people around here. Played a bit of Vets Touch on a Wednesday. Got the glimmer back in the eye. Maybe seen by some of the coaches, and got called up into the first 15 a number of seasons ago now, and played quite a few games. And we'll talk about maybe the first 15 game on Saturday.
So let's try and praise the communications that happened last week. I think you said, Miles, do we have a game? Miles went, still working on that. And then you said, Billy, maybe I could have a game.
No, that's not how it went at all. Actually, Miles unfortunately has failed miserably to get some games. Poor Miles. I think we do maybe have a Vets game coming up at Barnes sometime in the near future. 17th. There you go. So there was no Vets game Friday. Clearly. That was well known. So up popped a message at 10 a.m. on Friday morning. Dave, would you be around to help out the ones?
Was it the Meltz alarm?
The Meltz alarm went off. I was working from home, thankfully, but my wife Kirsty was away at the gym. So naturally, I responded rapidly to the text message and said, "Let me see what I can do."
So let's look at the first 15, and we're at that point in the season where we've done a pre-season. We've played some cup games, we've played some league games, and people start having some knocks, and we're chopping and changing the squad a little bit. Talk us through Saturday's win against KCS. Give us your view of how the squad's going. Let's chat through the match.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, conditions were tough, to be honest. It was a blowy, gusty day out there. Side note, we actually had a wall fall down in the garden while I was playing, but that's a different story. But I thought I'd mention that anyway, 'cause it's quite funny. Yeah, bluffy conditions. You never really know what you're going to get when you go up against a side like KCS. Bit of a hit and miss team. They've got a lot of old players, old schoolboys, so didn't really know what we were going to come up against. And I think, to be honest, that made the team kind of focus on what was in our control, which is what we can do, right? Lots of changes, as you already said. Me coming in, playing my first game of the season, not played since cup games last year.
That's what all the vets do, isn't it?
Well,
you miss pre-season, just coming for the games.
Have done some training, on a Wednesday night with the vets team out there playing touch, but yeah, bluffy conditions. We started really strongly. We had the wind in our favour somewhat, and we went up a couple of scores. One bagged by me. 3 hands were on the ball, so Tommy gave it to me. Thank you, Tommy. But there definitely was some other boys with hands on the ball. We went up a couple. They didn't really offer much, if I'm honest. They had a decent pack, lots of scrummage. Every penalty seemed to be a scrum.
Yeah.
Not many lineouts, bluffy conditions. They wanted to take scrums, so that's kind of how it went.
We struggled a bit in the scrum, didn't we?
We definitely did, yeah. I mean, I was playing in the back row, which is great for the neck on a Sunday.
Now, as a career two, it actually looked like you've just coloured in the bottom of the two to play 7.
The shirt was a bit tight, probably, to be honest. Yeah, so, I mean, pack-wise, yeah, lots of changes. Tails and I in the back row. Tails playing his first game in the back row. Did a phenomenal job. Defence was solid. But, yeah, scrummaging was a problem. I thought Joycey came on in the second half, did a good job for a couple of scrums and then got a yellow card.
Always thought Joycey's an impact player.
It's definitely an impact player. Did something.
I thought he was a bit unlucky because we got to about the 70th minute, I think, and they'd really given us a torrid time in the scrum. And you would have expected normally to have had one of your front row yellow carded, but it didn't happen until the 70th minute.
Yeah, I know. I think we were on a warning in about 23 minutes or something when 3 penalties had gone against, and we were definitely going backwards. But yeah, I know. Interesting refereeing. We could go on and talk about
say the least.
to say the least. But I definitely got a turnover, but I was blown against in March 10. But that's probably one for the bar later as well.
6 tries, though.
6 tries, bonus point win. Yeah, we probably let a couple go towards the end. I think again, yellow card probably didn't help, but just the force of scrummaging and kind of keeping us moving as a pack probably played its toll. But yeah, good win, 5 points on the board. Yeah. Team's going well, in my opinion.
Three debuts as well, I think.
3 debuts.
Lewis will be Charlie Redknapp, league debut, and George Spires as well. So
yeah.
That's good. And there's the match report. Online, Paul Hicks and
Paul, yeah, another great match report.
Yeah, worth reading through.
Well done, well played. I
appreciate it.
Really feels like the ones are going well at the beginning of the season. We've got a few boys carrying injuries. There's a couple of knocks, but there's momentum. And
yeah, absolutely.
It must feel like, talk to me coming back in from vets into the first team. Talk to me a little bit about culture and the momentum of the boys.
Yeah, I mean, coming back, only playing a couple of games really last year. I got an injury, way back at the start of last year, but played a couple of games in the cup last year, and actually coming to this season, not really gone through pre-season, coming back into the team, huge warm welcome. Boys really happy to see me, asking how things were going, asking how the family was. So it's really, I think it's matured as a squad in the last couple of years. There's some smart rugby being played. I think some of the players, Bondi at 15, I think gives just a bit of structure that the boys feel quite confident with. Billy's given free license to play. Maybe not jouer all the time, but there's certainly a bit of grit there to say, yeah, we can have a go, right? And I think you see that in the scores that have been put on the board. There's no fear. I think as the season goes on, I think that may come. So we need to be mindful just of where do we draw the line. But at the moment, boys are going strong. People are running onto the ball. Defence, I think, was outstanding for the majority of that game
great.
As well.
Two breakaway tries in that second half, really just because they kept battering the line and we kept them out.
Yeah.
And great to see Ryan Saunders come.
Yeah, he came back
off the bench.
Yeah.
So good to see him back.
So having had the pleasure of playing with you a good amount of times now, as a player, you're probably not, is it fair to say, probably not short of advice for the referee?
There's no doubt about that. As told on Saturday in March Back 10, yeah.
How have you been looking at that transition into your own refereeing qualifications and your own refereeing journey now?
Yeah, so I think it's a really interesting point. I think I made a point at halftime of going and kind of apologising to the referee, because I kind of can appreciate a different angle on it now, having done referees course and done a lot of refereeing through our age group in the now under 12 boys. But I think it's a journey. I think you've got to appreciate in most levels in the game there is only one referee. Yeah, they don't have the luxury, or we don't have the luxury, if I put myself in that place, of lots of TMOs and assistant referees and lots of encouragement and support that others do when you look at, international or Premiership or even Championship in most degrees. So I think there's a recognition and appreciation of what a referee has to do and is able to see. You can only see certain things. And I think the other, I guess, nuance in all of that is you get a lot of tips and advice from all the players, right? And everyone has an opinion on the game, but ultimately you need a referee to play a match, and I think that's an appreciation that I certainly have.
So Dave, I would thank you for joining our refs group, which has grown enormously this season. We mentioned it a few pods ago because there was a course on. I know Katerina and Doug did that with you guys.
Yep.
And I pinged Jason this week actually, because the chat on that refs thing is sublime. It's brilliant. People are putting clips in. What do you think about this? Take this test. And there's advice for, people starting their first matches, what to do. And it's been quite a quiet chat for a number of years, and we've been recruiting. And I just made the comment to Jason. I said, this group are so enthusiastic, so supportive of each other, helping each other out. I'll come and do the line judge for you. And it's a really different feeling in that chat this year.
That's really. I think that's really encouraging to hear.
Yeah, people like you have done it. It's brilliant.
I did my first official game at the weekend doing the under-14s girls. Mick and I shared responsibility, so I did a couple of quarters in the first half, I guess, and then Mick did the second 2 quarters, and it was a lot of fun.
Have you noticed any difference refereeing boys and girls?
Have I noticed a difference? Yes, there is a difference. I mean, I had the luxury of coaching some of the girls last year, but certainly refereeing, I think the things as a referee that we were saying on Saturday, instant reaction in a positive manner. So hands off, as an example. Hands were off. Even if it meant face planting on the floor, the hands were off.
To be fair, Dave, if you shouted that at me in a ruck, I'd probably.
Well, yeah, maybe there is that. There's the loud booming voice thing, maybe. But I do the same when I'm coaching and refereeing the under 12 boys, and definitely don't get the same reaction. Probably get the opposite. They hear hands on rather than anything else. So yes, there's definitely.
Just as a last question here, how are the under 12 boys running?
Under 12 boys look strong. Went pretty well against Cobham at the weekend. Battle of the H, as we like to refer it. I think six halves were played in total. We won 4 halves, drew 1, and lost 1. But we had 3 streamed but very strong sides out. So going well.
Yeah, and you've got an interesting fixture this weekend, but we'll get to that. Just before we finish off, we should mention obviously the second team. Yeah, this Saturday went away with a win at Trinity. Not an easy place to go. So 21-33 win. And thanks, of course, for the ever-supportive vets. So Craig, Chef, probably a few more for turning out and making that game happen.
Fantastic. Dave, well done.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. Okay, so let's look ahead now to this weekend's fixtures. And the first 15 are playing Old Wimbledonians down here at the clubhouse, and let's introduce our next guest. It's absolute pleasure to have Matt Bell, Director of Rugby from Old Wimbledonians, joining us on the pod this evening. Matt, good evening, how are you?
Well, I'm very well, Richard. Thank you very much for having me on.
Just for those who don't know you, many don't know, I've had the pleasure of playing with you and knowing you for many, many years. But give us just a little bit of an insight into your own rugby journey.
Well, initially I went to a football school, changed schools and moved from Epsom to Wimbledon. And all of a sudden I was playing rugby and cricket, and literally it was like someone turned a light on. I'd had 6 years maybe of playing football, not being allowed into the opposition's half at left back or left centre back, basically not allowed my toes over the halfway line. 6 years of that, to suddenly discover a sport where I could just roam anywhere was unbelievable. And I actually remember my first session up at Donhead of rugby, after school training, first go, the ball was kicked to me straight away, and we used to play a sort of scrag game on tarmac, believe it or not. And I remember just getting the ball and having a run and just thinking, wow, this is me, and I just loved it. From then on, I was sold.
That's fantastic.
And then
please go ahead.
Went from Donhead to Wimbledon College. Loved every moment of playing sport at Wimbledon College. My dad was an old Wimbledonian, and so gravitated towards the club. I suppose in some respects, it wasn't an easy transition. I used to go down and watch some of the first team games with other mates at the age of 16, 17, 18. And, some of the players were huge. And there was no way we were thinking we would be playing old boys rugby at the age of sort of 18, 19 when we left the college. We just didn't think it would happen. And a bunch of my mates went off to uni. I didn't go off to uni. Sat around basically at home for a few weeks, and luckily Roger Brosh, who was a few years older than me, he was a young lad at the club at the time himself. I think my dad put him up to it. He phoned me up, said, "Matt, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I don't think I'm going to be good enough to play down at the club." And he just basically said, "If you can play first team school rugby, you can play Old Wimbledonians." And that was it. And I went down, and I don't know, however many years later.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. How many seasons ago was that? Because you've been involved in the club ever since that moment in time.
Yes, that's got to be about 38 years ago. I would have thought 38 seasons.
That's a strong shift.
In at 18 and 56 now, and I think I played up until I was about 47. Had the pleasure of playing a few matches with both of my sons, who became Old Wimbledonians.
Amazing.
So I was hanging on for that to happen.
It would not surprise me at all if you still carry your boots around with you.
Well, I had them on tonight at training, but I don't get involved at all now. Even holding a bag is hard work.
That makes a lot of sense. Let's talk a little, because you've mentioned your father, you've mentioned your sons as well in that. And if I was to liken, if Rains Park, where Old Wimbledonians is based, was Hyannisport, right, then your family, the Bell family, are effectively the Kennedys. Okay, you are the lifeblood of the club, happening for many, many years. And I guess there's two ways I'd look at this. One is, Sam's still playing with you. Sam's still in the squad. Your son's in the squad.
Sam's still playing. My second son, Joe, has had a bit of trouble with a knee injury, and really he prefers cricket. He's a bowler, and he's not playing rugby at the moment. We always hold out hope that he'll come back, but for the moment he's following his cricket.
What's it like coaching Sam? Having your son in the squad?
Well, I'll tell you what, Sam's easy. The two boys were very different. Sam is super quiet, Joe very opinionated. So actually, the one that gave me the most trouble, luckily, is playing cricket. The one that gives me most trouble is continue to play rugby. So it's you tend to be the one thing to be aware of. You tend to be a little bit harder on your own son. Or your own child if you're coaching your daughter. Let's just kind of expect a little bit more.
Let's reverse this. Let's reverse this back up the genetics, because your dad, absolutely wonderful man. I knew him for many, many years. Complete lifeblood of the club. Sadly, he passed last year.
He did indeed. Yes.
You gave the eulogy at his funeral. It was one of those wonderful. It sounds odd describing it like this. It was one of those wonderful rugby funerals, where putting on the club side that morning means a lot more. But you gave when everyone was quite kind of sad, you gave a wonderful anecdote about how your dad played against you. Do you mind sharing that?
Yes, when I was at my top year at Donhead, and we'd had our last game and the end of the rugby season. I'm not sure if it was officially sanctioned, and Paddy O'Dear was a teacher at the time. When he heard the eulogy, came up to me and said, "I'm sure I didn't officially sanction that." But we ended up with a fathers v sons game on the first team pitch down at Chessington, the old clubhouse for the Old Wimbledonians. And I always remember we were playing away, and I found myself opposite Dad at one point, and he always played every game 100%. You know, it wasn't a case of no quarter given. It was a case of, well, if we're going to play the game, we're going to play the game. And he ran straight at me, and I think I was probably about 12, something like that. I seem to remember rolling backwards and hanging on to sort of maybe a knee and then a boot or something, and then everything went a bit dark. And I think he just fell over me in the end. But he picked me up with a big slap on the back and said, you know, well done, and then stormed off to sort of menace someone else.
That's fantastic.
You know,
it has safeguarding officers the country over. Rolling over.
It's a long time ago. This was a long time ago. That was.
Can you imagine?
I mean, I think secretly we'd all like to do it, but for the record, we won't.
There are moments.
Let's talk a little bit about Old Wimbledonians and the Old Wimbledonians journey, because freshly promoted into this league this season, but actually that's been built off the back of 2, 3, 4 years of building culture, of getting results, of promotion throughout the club, bringing back the second team as well, the Rams second team. Talk us through some of that journey.
Well, we've been on a little bit of an up now for, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years. One of the things we always had in mind was for the first team to move on, we had to make sure we reintroduced a regular second team, a regular Rams team. You know, we've taken a few decisions along the way. We've put player experience, you know, at the absolute top of the tree. We've invested on training on a 4G pitch. We only train once a week now, but we don't lose any sessions to the weather. Training numbers went from sort of averaging 12, 14 up to 30 and above. And really just deciding player experience should be everything has galvanised the club. It's got a good group of players together that appear to be very loyal, and the ball started rolling. You know, I don't think there's no silver bullet to it. I think it's just a case of put your cultures in place and get everyone pushing in the right direction. And your culture shouldn't necessarily be about winning. It's about experience first, the player experience. Because if it's always just about winning, the moment you stop losing, why will players play for you? You know? And so that's been really the most important, possibly the most important decision for us.
I think that's a fantastic outlook. How have the boys been finding the league this season, first few games?
Well, I mean, I think you boys are 3 from 3 at one end of the table, and we're 3 from 3 at the other end of the table. So yeah, it's been tough. But you know, we're buoyant. We're looking at the games and we're thinking, oh, you know what, it's frustrating. You know, we're a bit naive. I think the one thing that we've really noticed is, in the past, if you got a little bit isolated and you were strong, you kind of got away with it. You know, you could paper over cracks. Now, you make a mistake, you go away from your plans, you get isolated, you're punished.
Matt,
and that's the biggest learning curve for us, I think.
Matt, hi, it's Pete. I just wonder, who have you played so far this year?
Ruts first, which was interesting.
Yeah.
I think that was about 34-12 or something like that.
Yeah.
And given where they finished last year, second,
we
thought, actually, you know what, that's not a bad showing. And then we went down to Hove game 2, and they beat us 56-10. And I think it was something, might have been 21-10 at half time, something like that. So again, there's positives, but we're just not at the moment maybe sustaining our game plan for long enough.
Well, those are two.
And then our third game was Trinity.
Oh Christ! Wow, you've had a tough start. I mean, those.
Well, and again, that one was 30. That might have been 34-12 or something. So we're not getting a bonus points out of the games. You know, we need to get a little bit closer. One of two ways. You know, we either got to go all out for the try, but against the sides that we think may be top of the league, go all out for that try bonus point, or hang on to the coattails and get the losing bonus point. But you know, somehow we've got to start finding ways. Our cup finals will be coming. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, for sure.
And you look at the league, the way the league is shaping up, there's going to be a good few cup finals in there for us, but we've got to make sure we're getting something out of some of the other games.
Yeah.
You've got a quality squad, so it is going to come. If it could not come this weekend, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've been training this evening in the hope that it might come this weekend. So we're hopeful. Boys are enjoying the challenge, which is the main thing.
And you've talked about culture and the importance of experience, and one of the words that often goes with that is connection. It's like the connection that you have with each other, the connection that you have with the club. Now, since we played together, there's been the introduction of a whole junior section, mini section, and I think it's only been maybe last year or the year before was the first time that cohort of minis had come through to their first caps in the senior club.
Yeah, I think maybe a couple of years ago the under sixes made it all the way up to senior rugby, but we've got a good cohort coming through now after university, so 22-year-olds, and yeah, I mean the club's buoyant for it. I mean there's a lot of interest. We had ball boys or ball girls down at the club for the first team game last week. So, we're seeing more and more of the youngsters coming down actually on a Saturday to be involved in and watch the senior rugby rather than just come down with parents on a Sunday when they're doing their stuff.
Yeah,
which is brilliant.
That's fantastic. How did training go this evening? How are the boys feeling ahead of Saturday?
Oh, excellent. Yeah, a few special moves. The boys are looking great. No, it went well. We had a session down at the club, so we weren't on the 4G tonight. There's something going on up at the school, but great numbers, boys getting involved. Also, we've got a great addition to our coaching staff. Connor Slevin from Harlequins is helping out at the moment, and he's been a revelation. That's brilliant. One absolutely standout young man, and he's that same age group as our 22-year-old lads that have come through.
It is important to have a coach who understands having a tough start to the season.
Yeah, well, and that's it. He's bringing all his experience.
Matt, look, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been great, Matt.
Good luck for Saturday. May the best team win. Really hoping that your boys can hang around for a beer afterwards as well. We'd love to show some hospitality.
Without a shadow of a doubt. We'll always be the social team. Don't worry about that.
Well, we'll take that. We'll challenge there as well. But really looking forward to it.
Great. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Fantastic
insight there from Matt Bell, Director of Rugby for Old Wimbledonians, and really looking forward to that fixture on Saturday. It is down here at the club. Anyone who can come along. Are there still spaces at the lunch?
There is. There's a Vice President's lunch, and we'll also be making the Gordon Levati Volunteer of the Year Award.
Have you seen the nominations?
I've got the nominations here, actually. Paul Hubbard, Lionel Fruin, Tommy Schofield, the Podfather, Ian Sneed, Paul Hickson, Mr. Match Report, John Kilby, Matt Lunn.
Oh, really?
And Mick McAllister.
Mick.
So the pod.
This is Pete. That is the equivalent of the group of death. That is the volunteering group of death. There are some incredible names in there.
Well, there you go. It was tough to do. It was difficult. Anyway.
And it's not voting. This is all done quietly. This is all done quietly in the Braemar room.
Benevolent dictatorship.
Is
the way forward.
I like that.
Yeah.
So when we were talking there to Matt Bell from Old Wimbledonians, one of the things that we talked about was the introduction of the minis and how that's changed their club and their environment. And we all understand that the minis are the absolute foundation of the club. That is our supply pipeline. That is how we keep our community restocked as we go forward. Let's get some more insight on that and introduce our next guests. Welcome to Louise Pike, Minis Chair, and to Andy Taylor, who's joining us today, who's worn many caps. I'm making no other comment about hats. I know you're looking at me across the room, waiting for the bald gag, but I wouldn't do that. Thank you. So Louise and Andy, welcome. Louise, let's start with you. Just tell us a little bit about your journey in the club, how you came to the club, and the role that you play.
Hello, good evening. I came to the club, I think, about 6 years ago when I brought my son down to under fives. I come from Gloucester. I come from a rugby family, so it was something that was quite important to me that he learned how to play rugby. And I just sort of got involved one day with under fives. I think I started moving some cones.
Schoolboy error.
And I think Dan Cowan just sort of spotted me and went, she looks like somebody that could to get involved. And then I did a spooktacular. I got involved with organising that for the kids, and then Dan said, you look like a person that could be mini chair. So that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years.
And that's an incredibly important role for the club.
Yeah,
bringing those kids through and bringing those families through on that journey as well.
Yeah, exactly. Really enjoy it. I think I would have been a teacher in a different life. I really love seeing the kids grow. I love seeing them learn the game and understand the game and how to play it. So and it's an enjoyable role.
So minis so far. So did minis have a pre-season this year?
The under 10s. We had to kick Matt off actually. Off the AGP. We had a pre-season with the under 10s. We did I think 4 or 5 sessions through August.
Yep.
I think that's really the first time that we started really taking it seriously pre-season.
One of the things I loved during pre-season, actually just over the summer, is when we run the Family Touch. And Family Touch is just a fantastic thing. So all age groups, like from the smallest kid to grandma and granddad on the pitch playing together. But one of the things I really noticed this year was that our kids, and my kids are under 12, there was a point when they were the smallest, and the older boys were kind of letting them through and letting it go. And now watching them doing the same for the younger kids who turn up, tiny kids. But that's exactly what it's about, and they get that. We're not asking them to do that. They want them to have that moment and to participate. And I think it's lovely. I think it's in the club, and I think it's in the kids. I think that's wonderful.
It is a great thing. I have to say, it's been running. I can't remember how many years now, but whenever I see it, it just makes me smile. And you're right. There's some some great characters. Right, it's really good. So occasionally you get the occasional dad that's a little bit feisty and dummies and sidesteps everyone, but mostly everyone's in it for the right sort of natured rugby, and it is great. It is great because it does give those young kids time to shine and be sort of mentors, and it's nice. It's really good.
So, Louise, last weekend was the first festival of the season.
Yeah.
Always a joy.
Yeah.
How was it?
The weather was good, which always really helps with the younger kids. So we had 8s and 10s at Cobham. We played Battersea, we played Cobham, we played Reeds. Slightly smaller than usual because that big club in West London, Richmond, are having their festival on the same day. So we didn't get as much participation as we wanted, but it was still really good. We had over 250 kids here, so
awesome.
I mean, it was an awesome festival actually. Really, really good.
And you get your flags, your pitch flags?
So you will see around now that I persuaded Steve Hurd that we needed to look a little bit more professional. So you see lots of new kit, Cobham branded kit. We look like we're in for the professionalism now. So that's quite good as well. But overall in minis, numbers are buoyant. Which is good. So it is challenging. I mean, I do talk to a lot of parents in this role as mini chair, and it is challenging getting kids into rugby at the moment because of all the press and the media and everything around what's going on. But we've recruited a big influx into under 6 this season, into under 7s. Okay. So we've got about 350 in total at the moment. So that is slightly down. It used to be about 400. But there are lots of numbers coming in. Under 10s, I've got about 60 now on the books. And, 50 of those are turning up each week. So it's good.
I know you're reflecting on, like, bygone days where there's 400 minis. But I think this year you've definitely seen growth, haven't you? I think there's been some really big groups and some influxes. Yeah. And that's a trajectory that you want to sort of keep.
Yeah, and I think it's about, the volunteers, the the depth and the strength of the managers we have going out into the community and pulling people in. It's a full-time job, yeah. We need to keep motoring and powering it.
And one of the ideas, I think, from last season, I remember you did the bring the friend along. Was there one of those?
We're going to do that this season. Yeah, we're going to do that sometime in November. Hopefully, we'll bring a friend, get free food, etc. That's the sort of thing.
But experience playing here.
Yeah.
And we invest a lot in the coaching, so they will see.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look through,
standards.
Andy coming into under fives has really helped us out this year. But if you look at the depth that we've got some professional coaches out there in minis. I mean, we've got Danny in under 11s. We've got Nathan in Mike Brown in under 8s. We had Nathan Earl last year in under 5s as well. So there's some really good coaches.
That's a hell of a lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait a minute. We're only not on the vets pitch. I mean.
But also, some of the coaches have played to a really good level as well, and actually they're really good teachers. So that's what sets us apart, I think. And you can see that when we play other teams.
So I think the outcome is exceptional, and those numbers are still incredibly strong. You mentioned the journey's hard. Week in, week out.
Yeah.
Getting the boys on the pitch, getting the parents, getting the right amount of coaches.
Yeah.
What would you change if you could?
Well, I think, together with Matt's a great support to me because obviously I'm not I haven't played rugby at all ever. But what I can do is organise very well. And we're starting to do some really good improvements, I think, in minis. And we're starting to what I would consider be a bit more professional. So one of the big things that is we're working on safeguarding, and that's really important to me because I think when you are managing children, I think you have to have the outlook that you need to be as good as a school establishment. Yeah, so we're putting in a lot of work there. We've got 2 really good safeguarding officers in Amy Aller and Emmeline. And we're putting in a lot of work there to put the discipline around safeguarding. The coaching, obviously, we're putting in the work at the beginning of season to get all the coaches up to the required standard. And I think that the coaches are going on a lot more RFU courses as well now. So a lot of them were on the courses in Anisha, and making sure that we are keeping up that continuous improvement. I think the one thing I would say to the audience is come and get involved, because minis is a thriving, I didn't know about joining a rugby club until I arrived. And you make a lot of friends, you're all in it together, you build the community, and minis is a really good community. We all help each other out, and we support each other really well. I mean, if I think about how the club operates, so for example, we get the Duke of Edinburgh boys every year, and they come from youth. They're usually the under 14s, but they are such a great support to the minis, and it's that makes this club thrive.
I think that's such an important message, that you don't have to have a background in playing rugby to step in.
No, not at all. And actually, some of the best managers we've got a lot of women now as well managing the minis teams. So if I think about Rachel Pugh in the under 8s, or MJ in the MJ Craddock in the under 9s. These are all mums that want to get involved. I've got a lot of first aiders who are mums as well. So yeah, you don't have to have any rugby experience. It helps if you're coaching, but you can just come and be a first aider. You can be a pitch marshal when we do a festival. You can come and do some admin. I mean, Spooktacular, for example, is a big event for the club. Yeah. You can come and get involved with that if you're good at event organisation, for example.
Yeah, the DOV stuff it's been running for years, and I found out, I think it was last season, there was a lad, Luke, who had stopped playing. He was in my son's age group, so we coached him, and he stopped. I think he stopped about COVID, something around that time. But I think he carried on until he kept coming down here, and I think we just happened to cross paths in in the car park. I said, I thought he'd left the club about 3 years ago, but he's still coming down to do his coaching with that age group. And I think that those guys get a lot of, they get a lot of boost out of doing those sort of things.
Definitely,
it's really good to see.
I think to any parent who's thinking it's not for me, or I can't do that, or I don't have permission to do that, please step in, because some of our most senior coaches now coming up, even in the youth section, had never even played rugby and have gone on the journey since.
Yeah.
And they're now playing. You take someone like, I always come back, but like Pat Metican, not a rugby player, but taught himself rugby, taught the kids. He was the single best coach when we were at like under 5s, under 6, at just engaging with the kids and just forming that bond and just like making fun happen. The rugby came. The rugby came later. But my God, we had some fun, and it just framed that. And you don't need to be a rugby expert to do that.
No.
And like Louise says, if you've got other skills, this rugby club can use them, right? You've got to organise tours. I mean, Minis is a great place for tours, right?
Yeah, I mean, our annual tour in March is the highlight of the year, really, in terms of, I mean, Alex did a fantastic job year before last, and then we've had some great times down in Sussex when we go to PGL in Sussex, and we usually play kind of 3 or 4 Sussex teams, and then we have a great time at the PGL where the kids can do all the activities. So you don't need to be a rugby professional to organise that.
No. Brilliant. Andy, talk us through how you are currently coaching 5s. How did this come around? How the 5s going?
Is that the family?
Talk us through the journey.
Well, it wasn't intentional. I finally got my Sunday mornings back. My youngest James, now an under 13, so under 12 last year, and so the under 12s train at 11:30. So I got away from the 9 o'clock starts, get to the club for 9:30, bleary-eyed, and after a season of Lions on a Sunday, my daughter decided she quite liked the idea of getting into coaching and thought she might do that for her volunteering for her DOV. And it coincided with the under 5s being a little bit light on coaches, and I spoke to Lunny and spoke to Louise and said, well, I guess I could help run it. And helping running it has turned into running it, and I'm ably assisted by my daughter, Amelie, and as fate would have it, somebody she did under 5s with, Alex Crooks, and that's the coaching team of 3, me and 2 16-year-olds.
And you are now coaching people who are shorter than you.
Yes, back to coaching people who are shorter than me.
Yeah,
thank you for that.
I feel like we need to give Andy a bit of a break here. We've gone a bit hard on the obvious things. Forgive us. Like, I think that's a brilliant thing you're doing, and the fact that you're able to do it with your daughter as well, and just create that next piece. And what does the journey look like in under 5s for you? Are you actually there to coach the coaches and build that next generation to come through, or is this now you're taking that responsibility?
Well, it depends who else puts their hands up, I guess. The bottom line is it is a bit too much fun. And back to Louise's point about not having to have a rugby background, to coach under 5s, let's be absolutely clear, you don't need to know anything about rugby. The phrase that comes up again and again is herding cats. And any of us who are parents have had 4-year-olds' birthday parties, or playing at the park where you've taken your kids' friends. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's just about making it fun. There happens to be a rugby ball and maybe a tag belt and some cones to run around, but you don't need any rugby background.
I think this is just such a key point. Like, this is amateur rugby. All right, amateur derives from the Latin verb amo. I love. It's literally for the love of the game. That's what amateur means. So, if you love the game, then you love the community. Because you can't understand rugby if you don't understand the rugby community. Yeah. And so for anyone who just has that love, or has benefited from that love, or made the decision to bring their child to a rugby club, just step in. Just step in. There are opportunities for everybody to grow themselves, as well as help the club and the environment. So I think that's a kind of plea forever in that way, because every organisation like ours needs that constant pipeline of parents to say, I'll do something, right? I'll pick up some cones, or I'll just take responsibility for something. These aren't big things. This isn't a kind of drop off and leave environment. This requires people to step in, and the people who step in get the most out of it.
I think you're right. I think the fact it's not a drop off and leave like a lot of sports means that maybe you need to do a bit more, but you get a lot more out as well. It does have that community. Rugby clubs have a clubhouse where everybody hangs around and gets a coffee or a beer when the bar opens, and a lot of football clubs or other sports don't necessarily have that. Rugby clubs have it, cricket clubs have it, but it's special, and it needs people to pitch in and join in.
And in with the under fives crew, is there anything particular that the dozens and hundreds of thousands of listeners, you're preaching to the converted, but is there anything you need in terms of that, people to help, people to do something?
Well, I've eyeballed a couple of parents who I think they're showing a bit of interest, and I think I'll have some coaches soon. But spread the word. So we've only got it's about 17 or 18 under fives at the moment. We really need to double that so that we're getting a squad of 30, 20 plus turning up every Sunday, because that just adds a bit more. There's a bit more you can do with it.
Yeah.
There's a bit more chaos. The fun stuff happens when you've got four different coloured bibs running around.
What's put the biggest smile on your face this season?
So again, go back to your point about me being vertically challenged. We're a small family.
Aspirational.
Yeah, vertically aspirational. And Amelie did highlight the two smallest players on the pitch, and after one session said, I won't name them, but he said, they're my favourite players. You're not supposed to have favourite players. He said, yeah, but they are.
Lovely. What's next then? What's next for minis? What can we look out for? What's on the horizon?
Well, I'll give a big plug for Spooktacular because that raises a lot of funds for the club and is a big Cobham community activity. So far, our ticket sales, they are selling, but we need to sell a lot more tickets. So anybody out there that wants a great fun evening, there's lots of activities for kids. There'll be all the usual kind of sweets and spooky trail and all those kind of things. Really buy a ticket, which you can go on to Eventbrite, or you can get it from Jackie or Courtney in the clubhouse. That's at the end of October. Then we go into, I guess, a lot more festivals. So we've got Old Wimbledonians coming up. We've got our Under 11s festival here in December. And then we're going to have a minis Christmas party, as we always do, on the last Sunday before Christmas. So, yeah, that's kind of like the near-term future.
Is there a special guest booked in for the Christmas party? Ho, ho, ho,
ho, ho, ho. Hopefully,
desperately trying not to say elf.
Santa will arrive again.
Excellent, fantastic. But huge thank you for all that you both do.
Yeah.
Both in the minis, and Andy, you coach right the way through the club, and play and have been known to play in the All Stars as well.
Occasionally.
But look, really
well
brilliant.
Done.
So
well done.
Huge thank you.
Thank you.
Great stuff.
Thanks very much.
Okay, let's go from the minis up to youth. And Lunny, let's come to you and have a look at the youth roundup.
Yep, I can do a few things, and I'm sure Alex will support me here. I should just do a shout out for the Girls' Festival that we ran here a couple of weeks ago. I know Alex hasn't put it on the pod notes, but
It's fine.
he organises a very, very good festival, almost single-handedly. I'm pretty sure Andy would nod to my right here.
Absolutely.
And again, it was a super success. We had a bit of drizzle in the afternoon, but there's lots of good stuff that happens at that festival. You know, we support a lot of the young match officials, and they come down, they get mentored, they get lots of opportunities to match, to referee matches. Some of our newly qualified refs stepped in as well. I even did some refereeing, some very rapid girls from Barnes who struggled to keep up with.
Yeah,
very good.
They weren't in our pool. We didn't play that.
Yeah,
game.
well organised. Well organised. They were pretty good. So yeah, that was a really good festival, right? And just thanks, Alex. I know
And
you didn't want to mention it.
you had some new balls, didn't you?
Yeah, we
We
did.
did.
Now, we should see a photo in the next Braemar newsletter, hopefully,
Ooh, yeah, you will do.
of a big pile of balls. We got
Pile of Matt's balls.
different colours for different age groups,
Yeah.
all pumped up in the change room electronic pump. So we took a lovely photo of that. So thank you, Pete and the Braemar, for supporting the festival again, second year running on that. So that was good. But a bit of a roundup of results. Rich, you going to take us through the under-12s boys?
Yeah, certainly. Dave Stewart touched on it a little bit. We had Cobham came over on Sunday. We put 3 teams out.
Wow.
And it was really good. We played in quarters. We chopped and changed for the teams because we're at a point where the boys are playing in different positions. We're trying to work out like who's probably destined to be a forward, who's probably destined to be a back, even though we're not calling that yet. But really, really good. So we won 2 of the games outright, and in the third game we lost a half and drew a half. But all played in good spirits.
Brilliant.
Really, really good development from the 12s going forward.
That's great to hear. That is great to hear. Under 14 boys.
So I've got I've actually got a video here, and if you have the opportunity, check on social media because it's worth watching. I will play the audio if I get this right, but definitely have a look tomorrow. I'll post it on. They're really bringing some particular style, but let's try this.
Down here at Guildford Rugby.
Great day.
Absolute beautiful. It sounds like a bit of me, really. I
It's
love
Max
it.
Guildford quite well.
It's Matt Guildford. A few times.
Wimbledon were a bit of a challenge, but you know you can't avoid a couple of challenges every once in a while.
Yeah, had a good run at them, and we played our best rugby.
Played our best rugby we have for the season, I think.
Gonna get
Pretty short season so far, but you know.
pulled up from here.
Cool. Great luck for the rest of the season, lads.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Windy day down there, wasn't it?
It was a windy day.
More
but
media
you can
training.
just see- you can just- there's this wonderful rogue Cornish accent in a couple of the voices, which did make me chuckle.
Oh, that's good. I've got an under 14 girls who played Gilbury, which is Guildford and Camberley for anyone that hasn't been on the cluster.
Well, it was a bit more than that.
Oh, was it?
This is a challenge. I'm a big fan of clusters, but sometimes it can go a bit far. So under 14 girls played the supergroup team made up of Guildford, Camberley, Quinns and Teddington.
Wow.
And needless to say, the Cobham Chobham group were slightly outmuscled, sadly, against a very well drilled side. Final score was 50 points to 26, so definitely put up a really good fight. I think there were loads of highlights from our game. Scrummaging. And we don't say this about Cobham teams all the time. We're usually the smaller, nippier teams. But we managed to win a couple against the head, including one where, contrary to the regs, we pushed them back 2 metres. The ref didn't pick that up. We absolutely really gave it a good go. And the rucking was really good. Players of the day, Emily was picked by the opposition, and our captain, Izzy Medwell-Bates, was brilliant at keeping the girls' heads up. So thanks to Captain Izzy, she did a really good job. It's really, it is important, you know. You're going to have some mismatches. But actually, 50, 26, they really
Lots of
gave
scores.
it a good crack.
No, that's good to hear. Well done. And I'll turn to Andy, our under-5s coach, to take us through the under-16 girls game versus Gilbury.
With my under-16s girls coach's hat on. Another tough day out. Gilbury, lovely side. Yeah, played some really good rugby. I think the final score was 56-17. But it was tight. It was really tight for the first 25 minutes. They scored a couple of breakaway tries before half time, and I think heads went down a little bit. And we struggled in the second half. Again, shout out to our captain, fantastic Izzy Kent, who leads by example. There's not a player who puts in more work than her. Over 70 minutes, so she was the right shout for captain. But lots of work ons. The girls were in training today, fired up, numbering up in defence. Big effort on numbering up in defence and getting the guards in early. So hopefully in a couple of weeks when we've got our first cup game, we can have a better result.
Thanks, Andy. And I'll take you through a couple of the Colts results. So 2 weeks ago, they had the joy of visiting DSP to play Battersea. Anyone wants to know what that means, please write into the pod. And those of you that do know what it means, we're not using that language on this pod. So we went up to Battersea, and the Colts is it's not weird. It is a challenge that a lot of age groups, certainly the older age groups, will understand. We have 60 registered, connected players who have either done pre-season or have been to a midweek session, or who have committed to come back after Christmas. So we've got 60 of them, and the last 2 weeks we've managed to get about 16 or 17 out. It's very, very difficult with the schools, but we go on about that a lot. But either way, they rocked up at DSP and absolutely had a flyer. 44-5 they beat Battersea, which they thoroughly enjoyed. And there were some highlights. I wasn't there, but there were some highlights on the VO of crossfield kicks, wingers leaping like 20 feet in the air and catching them, and some really good stuff. And then this weekend we were away at Old Wimbledonians on the big pitch. Very different game. It was a very strange game. We won the second half, is what we'd say, 5-3. But we lost overall, I think, 24-5, something like that. Very difficult. We struggled to retain possession. We struggled to get any sort of patterns of play going. But boy, we must have made about 500 tackles because the possession and territory was very much in their favour. But, good workout. And it's a good club. You get upstairs, they feed you. They do Dick of the Day and Man of the Match. And the two captains get on stools and make little speeches. It's brilliant. Everyone in their shirt and ties. So, it's just good things about rugby, right? You might get stuffed on the park, but you get up in the bar, everything's fine. Yeah. So, that was that. I can take you through the fixtures this week, if you'd like, just rapidly, because it is a busy one. It's a really busy one. So I think we've got under 12 boys are away. Is that right, Rich?
We are away. It's over at
Richmond.
It's over at, I think it's at Twickenham, actually. And I think we've got Brighton.
I read Brighton,
and Teddington.
In like a 3 or 4 way round robin type thing.
So it must be at Teddington.
Yeah,
that'll be Brighton. Because we played Brighton on the minis tour years ago. And actually they were just really good lads.
Yeah.
They were just good people. So we've stayed in touch since. They're coming to the Quins game, and they said, we're coming over. Let's play. Let's have that beer. So we're doing it.
Oh, that's great. Under 13 boys also away. I think they're at Wimbledon. Under 14 boys, got 2 games at home against Old Ruts, so that'll be good. I think we've got some refs in for that. Under 14 girls are away at Chinner. I can see on some chats there's a minibus being organised, so that'll be good. Under 15 boys got 1 away at Old Emmanuel, I think the B team, and the A's are at home against Reeds, so that'll be spicy. Under 16 boys are away at Old Wimbledonians, so where we were in Colts last week. Colts have got Old Seas, Old Cranleans at home, and under 18 girls are at the Guildfordians Festival. I think everyone else is training at home. I think, unless I've got that wrong. But busy. So we're hosting a few teams here, so there'll be some food cooked up and served for afterwards. Lots of our newly qualified refs probably working out and doing some of these fixtures. So it should be a busy weekend at the club.
Fantastic. Thanks for that summary. That's great to go through that and just see the depth. What a strong start to the season throughout the club, like end to end. There's a lot that we should be proud of as a group, as coaches, as parents, as referees, as the folk who administrate the club. We should be incredibly proud of the start to the season. Pete, I'm going to come to you.
Okay.
And let's talk through some of the first team fixtures we've got coming up and some of the social calendar.
Okay. So this Saturday, Old Wimbledonians, we spoke with Matt earlier, so that's at home. They've had a tough start, actually, much tougher than our start to the season, to be fair. VP's Lunch, Gordon Lavati Volunteer of the Year Awards, and not to forget the second team at the moment, I think they're away at Reeds. And then 17th of October, Friday Night Lights, that's the All-Stars at home versus Barnes. I think we need a strong team out for that one.
I mean, that is because we've had a couple of cancellations, so this is our first game, and that is a thumper to start on. So
they always want to come here, though.
The first 10 minutes.
Well, they always want to come, and they always want to leave.
Yeah,
I've never seen a side leave so quickly as Barnes.
They arrange their own social, so they see it as a social event. So they play the game, and then they've booked a restaurant somewhere, and they're off to Isha.
I feel like last season we were able to take them down a peg or two because they turned up. Get this, they turned up without shorts.
Yeah, that was quite funny.
And so we did the honourable thing as good hosts. We managed to scrape around some under 7s, under 8 shorts, pass them out. So it's quite a sight on the pitch.
Yeah,
lovely. Then the following week, 18th of October for the first team. That's Eastbourne away. I think that'll be quite a tough game. They've had a pretty good start to the season, Eastbourne. And then Oktoberfest back here with Dropkick Brewing. So get back from Eastbourne as quickly as you can, lads, without
18th,
being rude.
That's half term, so we can... Yeah, okay.
So that's 5... So it's Dropkick Brewing, 5 Oktoberfest beers, Bavarian food, 2 pint steins, and a live DJ. Free entry for all.
Yeah, I feel the worst.
Oh, dear. Oh, that sounds like a very, very good idea.
And then 25th of October is the next round of the Cup. We've got Andover at home. So that'll be I'm not sure about them. I think they're at a similar level to us.
Well, I mean...
Never quite sure.
Going back since we last played Andover, I think I was in the first team when we last went down to Andover. And it is... I mean, historically it was an army town. And it was tough. And we had a player here, Nick. He was a hard policeman who played the second row, and he moved to Andover, and we ended up playing against him. Yeah, I don't have fond memories of going to Andover, so good luck, fellas.
Well, that's cheered everyone up.
I can't believe it's changed that much.
No. And then 8th of November, first team home against London Cornish. That's always a good game.
Yeah,
and on that day will be the Cobham former players' lunch. So that'll be quite a well-attended lunch there. So looking forward to that.
Fantastic. Plenty to play for, plenty to win. And on the subject of winning, Alex.
Yeah, what a brilliant segue. So, you remember the last time we were here, which was 3 weeks ago, I think. I gave you a competition to win some biltong. Biltong. And I asked you, what is the capacity of the Twickenham Stoop? So we have had a number of correct answers. 8, which is obviously, quite impressive.
How many incorrect?
Surprisingly great number of incorrect answers, considering you can look it up quite easily online. But anyway, so Louise is still listening in. Can you give me a number between 1 and 8, please?
5.
Oh, 5. Tommy Cobham.
No way. Tommy
Cobham
wins the biltong.
Tommy. So well done, Tommy. We'll get some biltong to you, and thank you to Billy Tong for the donation. Thank you.
Okay, now that brings us to the close of the episode. There's an awful lot of good things going on in the club. There's some tough news out there. There's some wonderful news out there, and there's an opportunity to make this season one of the best we have ever seen. So thank you to our guests, Dave, Matt, Louise and Andy. Thank you as ever to our sponsors, Fincetta, Russell Cook, Savills, SPL Villas, Dropkick Brewing. Without the contribution that you make to the club, we can't give the contribution that we make to the community. So it is hugely appreciated. A big thank you as ever to our co-hosts, Pete, Alex and Lunny. Thank you, Cobham. Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.